Well, welcome, guys. And again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And today around the world, we're just saying what an incredible global company Zenzino really is now, and where we're heading with this company is honestly, guys, it just every morning when I wake up, I think, gosh, where are we going to land today? So, but today I've got two really amazing speakers on, and these guys come with an impeccable amount of knowledge. One about the product and the science, and then also Peter. Okay, so that's Ida, and then Peter. Peter has an incredible amount of wellness professional background and of the nutritional supplement industry. First up, I want to do is Ida. Can I bring you on board first up, and could you just give a quick 2-minute overview of just your history, how you ended up in Zenzino, okay, and the history on your educational side?
Yeah. I'm so happy to be here finally, and thanks very much for having me, Robert. My background, I think most of you know me from before, but just a quick introduction. My master is human nutrition from the University of Copenhagen. I spent 5 years of educational background, 2 in Copenhagen and 3 in Oslo in Norway, where I'm also from. After I finished studying, I worked half a year for the Danish Cancer Society with preventional nutrition. And then I ended up back in Norway, where I was a lecturer for almost 3 years to students at the bachelor degree in nutrition. And then I came in the beginning January 2018 to Fine Pharma, which is owned by Zenzino. It's our factory, where we produce a lot of our products, including the tablets like Extend, Viva, we produce Aqua X, we produce Balance All Vegan. And I spent a couple of years there before I fully entered the Zenzino family from January 1st this year. At the same time, I have been studying along the way, adding on extra couple of years to my educational background with the IOC diploma, International Olympic Committee within sports nutrition. And on the side, I also do a lot of work with athletes, professional athletes, and the last couple of years I have been focusing on handball athletes. So
Fantastic.
That was a little bit about me.
Fantastic, Ida. That's amazing when you think about it. And again, you look about like 19, okay? Well, I know you're not, okay? That's a compliment. But couple that with Peter. Peter, can I just ask, and you do the same, just give the audience a quick snapshot of your education about how you actually come into the wellness world. I know you're a musician and you're out there in the world, okay, doing all the other things in life, but tell me about the nutritional side.
Sure, Rob, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's great to be on again. And well, I started being interested in nutrition right around the year 1993, when I learned about water, and I studied with an Austrian gentleman about water, and I was very fascinated what water does to the body and what things that you take into the body actually do in the body. So I started studying that with many teachers over the years, and actually I was then struck by something. You know, I had a tick bite, and the disease that I suffered from afterwards was really severe. And I went to a doctor, he's a friend actually, and he said, well, we have to treat that, first of all, just, you know, like any other disease, but then you have to build your body up by, for example, fish oil. That was in 2007. And I said, fish oil, that doesn't sound really good to me. But he said, you have to have it. So I took it. I took fish oil for 10 years until 2017. I couldn't take it anymore. It was just too strong, the fishy scent. And, you know, I didn't like it. And I stopped it. And then I met Dr. Paul Clayton as his interpreter, actually, and went into the world of real oil, you know, fish oil that is combined with other stuff that I will talk about right now. And well, it's a long story, but I ended up being a member of the Zenzino family, which I'm very happy and very proud of.
Fantastic. And you've done an incredible job in building your customer organization and your group around the world. And yeah, we at Zenzino Corporate, thank you so much. So Oda, let's go through your slides first up. I think, now do you want to drive them from your side?
Yeah, I can do
Fantastic.
that. I will start by sharing, oops, my screen. All right, do you see it?
Perfect.
Super. Okay, so today we are mainly focusing, or I think we are only focusing on the balanced oil and the balanced oil concept. And I will try to give you a quick overview of the most important things that you will have to know about the balanced oil concept. So I'll go briefly through our history, the formulation, some details from production, quality, the balance test, of course, and then results. I will end up with results from consumers, which we are always interested to talk about. So just a brief overview. As many of you know that Cincino was built or formed in 2005, and we started up with coffee and coffee machines. The exclusive Romboats coffee was introduced to Cincino, and a couple of years went along before we actually got into the more of the nutritional side that we're working on today. This starting point was when we bought some shares in the Norwegian company Bioactive Foods, which exists also today. But in May 2012, we bought 6% of the shares. And then by 2014, we own 100% of all of the shares in Bioactive Foods, which has been an extremely important step for our company. And actually, the balanced oil and the concept and the test originated from the research from Bioactive Foods. And their overall aim was to be the world leaders within restoring and maintaining normal omega-3, omega-6-3 ratio, and also by offering some documented dietary guideline and high quality products. And I spoke with the godfather, Ola Eide, yesterday about this presentation I was going to be holding today. And he is an extremely important person in the history of Cincino and also Bioactive Foods. And I spoke with you, Robert, about he coming on to have a more detailed talk about the history and the research and science behind. So
about a month's time, is that right? Yeah. About 1 month?
Yeah. So you will all see and meet Godfather a little later this year, I hope. But anyway, in 2014, we started up with a little over 37,000 tests. And as you see, those people who did not take any omega-3 supplements, they had a ratio close to 12:1 in Europe, and even higher, a lot higher in the US. Also, people who did take omega-3 daily as recommended, they didn't get into balance. They had a balance higher than 7.1 in Europe, and even higher in the US. And what the results showed in 2014 was that actually, if you took balanced oil or the shakes at that time, you would have a balance of 3:1 in general. So that was an extremely, so many tests showing these results early on, and we have known this for a long time. What we also saw back in 2014 was that there was some differences between the age groups, where the more younger people had worse ratios than the elderly people or people at higher age groups. So in the US, it was even higher. So the tendency was that the US, the situation was not good, but in the US, it was even worse. And I've heard some numbers from, or seen some numbers from Australia as well. And I think that the average is around 25:1 or 22:1, the last numbers we had.
Right.
So this we already knew back in 2014. But today, we have tested over 500,000 people. And this is the latest number that I screenshotted this morning, 532,000 tests. So that's extremely valuable. And the amount of information that we are sitting on, we could actually just sell the company today and just spin off on the data that we have. But of course, we are not doing that. We want to inspire change in life and help as many as we can. So I am so happy with all of these tests, and I will try to go into some of the most important details now. So the spin-off, or the idea that the balance concept idea, is well founded in science. And actually here in Scandinavia, we have some Nordic recommendations. And back in 2012, we were recommended to have a balance 5:1 between omega-6 and omega-3. When you dig into the science, you will see that the lower or the closer balance you have to 3:1, the better for you. And a lot of different diseases, you will decrease the risk. I will not go into the science today, but that is the tendency. So in Zinzino, we are recommending a balance lower than 3:1. So for each omega-3 that you are consuming, you should maximum consume 3 omega-6s. And the typical EU levels today are 15:1, and that is primarily because of the processed foods that we are consuming. So today we are eating a westernized diet, and the last numbers that I saw, 60% of everything that we consume in Norway are ultra processed foods. And these foods are typically high in sugar, saturated fatty acids. They are typically low in fiber, and also contains a lot of omega-6s. Back in the days when we were hunters and gatherers, we had a balance close to 1:1. So the picture is very different today. And for the last 50, 100 years, this balance has just shot rocket high. And this is like the foundation for our problems. The food we are consuming is not good. When we are taking ordinary omega-3 supplements, we see a tendency that the ratio will be close to 7:1. And the reason why ordinary omega-3 supplement doesn't really work is because they are only based on omega-3 from fish. Our product, Balance Oil, does not only have the omega-3 from the fish, we also have olive oil containing omega-9, which are extremely important in order to ensure that we have the stability both in the bottle, but more importantly, that they are chaperoning the omega-3s into the cells where we need them. So the key to Balance Oil is the combination between fish oil and olive oil. Okay, so digging a little bit more into the formulation. So you all know that we have fish oil, right? And we are using fish oil from short-lived fish like anchovies, sardines, and mackerel. And we have a really strict standard when it comes to the content of EPA and DHA in this fish oil. The olive oil, we have chose an olive oil that is cold pressed, and also it's pre-harvested. And from Spanish, Picual olives. And the reason why it's both pre-harvested and the type of olives that we have chosen is because that these methods ensure that we have the highest possible amounts of polyphenols. And Dr. Paul Clayton always refer polyphenol to as vitamin P. Because polyphenols are extremely important. It should be maybe the vitamin P in our diet, meaning that we have to have them every day. So these polyphenols are important not only for our body because they are strong antioxidants, but they are also the reason why the omega-3 will get all the way into our cells. So that has been extremely important for us to ensure that we have a high quality olive oil with a high content of polyphenol. The last thing that we are adding to the formulation, an active component, is vitamin D3. And this is naturally derived from the sheep wool. And all of the balance oil today are naturally flavored with orange lemon mint, grapefruit lemon lime, vanilla, or lemon. Yes, and I also have to, of course, mention Aqua X. Aqua X is the same formulation as balance oil, but this contains also Aqua Cell. And Aqua Cell is an emulsifier, meaning that you can actually add the oil to water or fluids, and then it will get mixed and you can drink it. For some people, this might be beneficial if they are not preferring to take the oil with the measuring cup or a spoon. Myself, I just drink from the bottle, but some people prefer to drink it with some fluids, and this is a perfect option for them. Again, we only have the lemon is naturally flavored. And also one other thing about Aquacell, as it's an emulsifier, it splits the fat drops in the glass that you are drinking in the water, meaning that you have in some way already started the absorption of the omega-3. Because one important thing about absorbing omega-3 is that the body is dividing the fat drops into smaller particle size. So it may also enhance the absorption of the omega-3. The last balance oil we have to talk about is, of course, vegan, and I would say that this is becoming my favorite, I think, because I am so happy with the reformulation that we made. Balance oil vegan is a 100% vegan formulation, and we recently improved this formulation by enhancing the amount of polyphenols. It consists of algae oil, ecum oil, olive oil, the same olive oil that we are using in balance oil, and a vegan vitamin D3, which are derived from, I only remember Norwegian name right now. Robert, can you please help me?
Yeah, do Norwegian, it's fine. I'll translate for you.
Yeah, so the Norwegian word is mose. It's like, I will get it in English a little later. But anyway, this improved formulation means that we are improving the stability in the bottle over time, and also that we are moss. Yeah, okay, moss. Pretty much the same. Yeah. So that's the vegan form for vitamin D3. And this is a very valuable product for people who are adopting a vegan lifestyle. Also, if we are to compare, and we always do, the balance oils, the balance oil vegan will have not double the amount of polyphenols, but nearly double the amount of polyphenols compared to ordinary balance oil. So this is an extra for those already loving the vegan oil. And now we will have even more. And maybe if you haven't tried it, this will give you the extra push to just try this product. This is amazing. One other thing that we have done is that we have changed the dosage to 0.15 milliliters and in a 300 milliliter bottle. So now it will be the same for all of the balance oil products. And we have added a flavor to the vegan oil, lemon, naturally, of course, and we have kept it neutral, as a lot of people also want to have a 100% neutral flavor of this product. So some production process details. A lot of people are curious where the oil are produced and the production process and so on. And what I can say is that the balance oil 300 milliliter with the 4 different flavors, they are produced at Lysi, Iceland. I have actually never been at Lysi. Corona or COVID-19 put a stop to my plans on going there, unfortunately. But they have a huge production facility where they are producing a lot of the balance products for us. The remaining balance oil products are produced at Faun. So we are producing at Faun balance oil plus vegan and also Aqua X. But for Aqua X, we are being sent big bulks of the oil from Lysi, and then we are adding the emulsifier there. When it comes to the fish and the fish oils that we are using, they are fished in areas that are certified by a very important institution or company called Friend of the Sea for sustainable fishing. So we are really, we have to make sure that the fish we are using are environmentally good, and we are really, this is important for us. Also, when the fish are fished, they are cooked right away, and the oil that are coming out from the fish is about 3 to 5%. The remains of the fish are not thrown away. They are kept as feed and used as feed. And we are not using any chemicals or solvents in this process. And the crude oil is stored under nitrogen protection and protecting the oil. And then it goes through a 4-step refining process. And I will not go into the details in this refining process, but we can talk about that another time. But this refining process ensures that we are having a great taste on the fish oil and that we ensure the color. Also, it removes any contaminants that may be left in the crude oil, although the risk is fairly low because we are fishing or using short-lived fish, small fish. Also, this refining process is, of course, improving clarity at low temperature, and it ensures that no degradation products are left, or that we have some high oxidation reactive compounds left in the oil. So when we are refining the oil, we are also, of course, removing some important compounds, which means that we will have to add back the compounds to make it be more of a fish again. So we had to add some natural antioxidants. We have to add back the vitamin D3, and also, of course, the polyphenols that we are adding from the olive oil is crucial for the stability and also the function, as I have explained, in the body. When it comes to the olive oil, I have told you that we are using pre-harvested olives because they have a very high content of polyphenols. The fruit is cold pressed and they are stored in tanks also with nitrogen protection, and they are then shipped to Lysi and mixed together with the fish oil, the mixed tocopherol that we are adding for stability, and the D3. And then flavor is added in the final step. If we are talking about AquaX, then we are shipping this oil from Lysi to FAUN to add the emulsifier AquaCell, and vegan has a little bit different process. I will not go into that today, unfortunately. Okay, so the D3 is from the sheep's wool, the lanolin, and when we human are making vitamin D3, the skin is a very important organ for us, and the same process is done here. So the D3 is activated through UV lightning. And the last thing, the natural tocopherols are used as antioxidants, and they are made from GMO-free soybeans, and they are allergen-free because they are not containing any proteins from the soy when we are using them. Okay, and one other point is quality and analysis. A lot of people are asking about that, and I usually say that I don't know of any other company who have analyzed their products more than we have in Cincino. In Cincino, we have a self-inspection program. We have this program to ensure the highest quality of our products. And of course, this program is also very important when we are opening up new markets, when we are having the governments on visits, wanting to dig into our formulation and all of the numbers. But let's focus on us today. But we when we are producing a product, it could be any product that we have. For each of the different ingredients that are going into this product, they will come with a certificate of analysis, a COA. And in this COA, everything from active components to contaminants, heavy metals, so on, will be stated. If any of these values are not within our specification, we will not use this ingredient. So as an example, when balanced oil is produced at Lysi, they are analyzing the final product at least 2 times a year. And then we in Zinzino are also analyzing balanced oil at least 2 times a year. And we can analyze more, it depends on what we need. The analytical parameters that we are analyzing is, of course, the active ingredients. So everything that we are declaring on the label in the nutritional value have to be analyzed. We do so because we don't want to be tricked by our suppliers if they are saying, well, we have this amount of vitamin D in our product. We have to make sure that the final product also contains what we are claiming it to do. And also, of course, everything from heavy metals, microbiology, and environmental contaminants, and also oxidation is crucial to know and to analyze at several points throughout the year. And if anything is changing, we are reformulating or taking out one ingredient or replacing with another, we have to do everything all over again. So we have control over our analysis. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the balance test. The balance test is why we can call ourselves a test-based nutrition company. We have been in the front of this test-based nutrition for so many years now. Remember that we bought Bioactive Foods back in 2014. And the balance test, it's pretty much, or it's quite simple. What it is that it's measuring 11 fatty acids in the blood. So you take a dry blood spot test, you take a lancet, we call it in Norwegian, you prick a hole in your finger, and then you take a drop of blood on a piece of paper. When this dries, it's sent to Vitas, an independent laboratory here in Norway, analyzing not only for our company, but for many other companies. And they are measuring these 11 fatty acids that you can see in the table. And this comprises 98% of all of the fatty acids that we have in our blood. So 2 saturated fatty acids, 1 omega-9 fatty acid, the oleic acid, which are the most important, or it's not the most important, but it's the omega-9 fatty acid is the most, I can't find my words today, but that fatty acid is most of in our product from the olive oil. And then we are analyzing 4 different omega-6 fatty acids and 4 different omega-3 fatty acids. And EPA and DHA is, of course, the most important ones. What we measure, and this table is quite big, but the most important is, of course, the omega-6-3 balance, as we have talked about, and as you know. What we want is a target value below 3 to 1. But the reason why I am showing you this table today is to explain that we have to look at all of the other components in the test results, and not only the omega-6-3 balance. We have to look at protection value, we have to look at omega-3 index, mental strength, cell membrane fluidity, and arachidonic acid. And what you will see compared to the old test site, I will come into that a little bit later, the arachidonic acid value, or what we measure here, is a little bit changed. But this is pretty much constant because we convert arachidonic acid, AA, from LA. And the target to start with this should be between 6.5 to 9.5. And depending on what you have in as a AA from your test result, this will influence a lot of the other equations that we measure. As an example, the protection value. So the protection value, you will sometimes see that this can actually be very low or even zero. And the reason for this is because you are not consuming enough omega-3 in your diet, or that you are not consuming enough balance oil. So omega-3 is very crucial for your protection values, and this equation is quite complicated. I was calculating a lot yesterday, and it has 3 steps, and then you have to take all of these steps and 3 numbers that you are getting, and then calculate even more. But anyway, and this equation takes into consideration a lot of other fatty acids, not only EPA and DHA, but also DGLA, AA, and the DPA. So the point about the protection value, to just summarize, if your omega-3 is low, then your protection value will be close to 0 or not good. Then, of course, the omega-3 index is very important. This is the sum of EPA and DHA, and what we want is a value above 8%, preferably a little bit higher, even 10%. So the first, yes, balance ratio is important, but then secondly, I would say get your omega-3 index higher than 8. The next thing we can mention is the mental strength, and this is the ratio between arachidonic acid, AA, and omega-3. And this ensures that you will have sufficient and balanced supply of the polyunsaturated fatty acids to your brain and to your nervous system. And this ratio should be lower than 1:1. And the last thing we can talk about here today about the things that we are measuring is the cell membrane fluidity. We can actually measure physically, take a cell and measure it in another way. So in our cell membrane fluidity, we're estimating the fluidity of the membranes that we have in our body. And we have, of course, strong science to back up this, but the point is, it's the ratio between saturated fatty acids and omega-3. And the reason why we are so interested in the saturated fatty acids here is that if you have a cell membrane with a lot of saturated fatty acid, it will be rigid. It will be very not fluid. So what we want when we are saying that you should consume more omega-3, it's because that we want EPA and DHA to incorporate into the cell membrane and makes it more fluent. So we have to push out the saturated fatty acid with the omega-3. And this is what is important for the fluidity of the cell membranes. And if the saturated fatty acids is above 37%, then we are consuming probably more sugar and carbohydrates in our diet than we should, based on what we are using for energy every day. Okay. And the last thing I want to mention about why we're measuring things in a certain way, you may have noticed that we are measuring per milliliter, or recommending milliliter per kilo body weight. And it's a number of reasons why we are doing so. But in nutrition, for a long time, it was more of a one-size-fits-all approach. And the last 10, 20, 30 years, we know that when we are talking about nutrition, we have to take the individual into consideration. We are all different. And also the government and the authorities are now also recommending based on the individual. They are not saying that you should consume that and that amount of one nutrient. They are saying in relation to. So as an example, omega-3, in Norway, we are recommended that we should consume 1 energy percentage of omega-3 in our diet. That means that if we are eating a diet of 3,000 calories, then 1% of this should be from omega-3. And if we are consuming 2,000 calories, then 1% of this should be from omega-3. So I just put up a couple of examples here. We have a female, 30 years, 60 kilo, 164 centimeters high. She is moderately active. She will have an energy requirement. What she should eat during a day should be between 2001, 2002, depending on the exercise, if she are doing gardening work, being very active or not, but let's say around that. She is recommended by the authorities to eat 1% of omega-3. And let's take Balance Oil Vegan as an example. 1 milliliter in vegan contains 235 milligrams omega-3. She is recommended by us to have a dose of 9 milliliter, and it will give her a total intake of omega-3 of 1 energy percentage, in accordance with what the government are recommending in general. And on the other side, we have a male, 60 years, he is sedentary. He will have close to an energy requirement as this younger woman. He is still recommended to consume 1 energy percentage of omega-3. We are then recommending him, because he have a higher weight, of having an intake of 10.5 milliliter of balance oil, which provides around 1 energy percentage of omega-3, or 2,467 milligrams omega-3. So we have to acknowledge that we are all different. When I am working with athletes, we are not recommending a certain amount of carbohydrates to all. We are talking about carbohydrates per kilo body weight. And the same we're doing for protein. So we have to take the individual into consideration when we are talking about nutrition. And I'm so happy to see that this is starting to become globally accepted as well. Okay, last I will finish up with some test results. And I spoke with Ola Eide yesterday, and he told me that I could use his calculations to present to you. We had Q1 status of the results that came in, and at that point we have had analyzed a little over 460,000 analyses, nearly 5 million fatty acid analyses, as we are analyzing 11. What is important about the analysis is not only that we have the fatty acid data, we also have to have the answers to the questionnaires. So what we can focus on is the number saying 369,000, which has both fatty acid data and questionnaire data. So out of these results, we saw that those who did not consume omega-3 were 225,900. And I will just switch a little bit on the screen now, because I didn't see the percentage as I was seeing all of your beautiful faces. So 61.1% did not consume any omega-3 of the results that we have analyzed. Those who used omega-3 were 14.8%, and those who did use balance oil was nearly 25%. What we calculated from this data was that those having a omega-3 balance below 4 was over 50%, while those who had omega-3 values between 4 and 8 were 40%, while those who had over the magic number 8%, as I was talking about earlier, were only 5%. So this means that we have a lot of work to do. As you see here, the highest balance measured from our results is 150 to 1. Yes, it's possible. So we have nearly 200,000 having omega-3 index below 4. We have 150 people at that time with omega-3 index between 4 and 8, and only 20,000 with omega-3 index above 8%, the sum of EPA and DHA. Which means that we have a lot of work to do, because we want to not only bring the red out of the red zone, we also want to focus on the people having an omega-3 index between 4 and 8%. Important work, guys. The last thing I will say is that Henrik Schulz and his colleague at the Gothenburg office has worked so hard with the new test site, and it's up and running now. It's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, type in your old test result while you are waiting for your new test, and have a look. It's a beautiful report coming out, a lot of information about VITAs, about certifications, everything that you will need to know is at this new test site. So I guess that was everything I wanted to say. Maybe I spent a little bit more time than we agreed on, Robert.
That was fantastic. Absolutely outstanding information. When I look at what you've just shared there, it is really unbelievable. It's great, great information. Yeah, really, and I'm just going to stop screen sharing there. Can you just stop screen sharing for me? Thanks, dear.
Do that.
And you know, really, when you start compiling all that data, and guys, this has been the great thing about this wellness in September, what we put together, okay? And next week, guys, we got CEO Thomas from Vitus Laboratory, okay, from the analytical lab. It's going to be an amazing call next week, okay? So just same time, same channel. Where's Peter? Peter, let's talk about some of those things that we just heard about. Now, from your nutritional side, talk to me about what you've seen. Now, Ida has just spoke a lot of information, okay? Talk to me about some of the things in the balanced soil that you've seen in the field as well.
That's it. Can you unmute me?
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm good now. Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Rob. I will. Well, this is outstanding information Ida put together. It's awesome, and I'm learning so much. For example, I'm learning that I'm the elderly because I'm above 50. So, thank you, Ida. But never mind. You're all right. No, but
I'm so sorry, Peter. I didn't get my numbers straight, of course.
Don't worry. Don't worry. No, you're fine. You know, Dr. Paul Clayton's products always are very practical, and they everything Ida explained is based on human nature and based on human processes, the evolutionary processes. And Dr. Clayton has researched so much of that, and he came up with all the products that incorporate everything that we needed along history. You know, when we were for the past 3 million years, we had basically a similar diet all the time, and we were healthy, you know, all the time, because our species survived. You know, many other species didn't, so we survived, and our diet was a large part of that. And Ida already mentioned that we were hunters and gatherers. Actually, we were fishers also in the beginning, and the main part was fishing in the beginning. So the omega-3 fatty acids from fish and crabs and, you know, all the seafood, that was a large part of our diet. And Dr. Clayton just mimics basically the diet that we were used to eat for centuries and even for thousands of years and longer than that. And when we do that again, when we incorporate all these very, very important micronutrients and the fatty acids, and when we don't fall for, you know, all the glamorous stuff like eat more sugar and drink more alcohol and whatever, you know, we have too much sugar and actually don't have the right fats that we eat. We eat a lot of fat, but mostly not the good fats that we need. So Dr. Paul put this together in a wonderful way, and it's a combination, and every product just builds on the next one. And if you use that, we can see amazing results, Rob. We just, maybe I mentioned the example of my sister. who had an accident back in 2005, and her limbs, like sometimes her legs wouldn't work, sometimes her arms wouldn't work properly well. And she refused, of course, you know, for about a year to take my advice and use the oil. And after a year of talking, you know, then finally she did. And about 2, 3, 4 weeks later, she noticed the first improvements in her limbs. And about 3 months later, no more problems with the limbs at all. So her legs would work properly well, her arms work properly well. So it has so many functions, the fatty acids in the body. And once we start incorporating them, then most people will feel better. And actually the body must get better because we just balance out the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3.
And that brings me to a good point, and I'd love you just as we wrap out now in the last couple of minutes, guys. I know we've gone a few minutes over, but this is just such great, you know, it's data that you don't get every day on a website or in a webinar. So thank you so much, you two guys as speakers. Let's talk about that balance test from what Peter has just said. Tell me from the practical side and what you've done a number of translations with Dr. Paul and other speakers. Talk to me about how you see that in practice and what you see from the wellness professional side.
Now, this is the main tool we have because, you know, people say, I feel well, you know, I take omega-3s. Many people take omega-3s. I think it's 500 million people in the world taking omega-3s already. But then you talk to them and you say, okay, you feel well, but are you well really, you know? And then, yeah, of course I am. So, you know, I would just hand them over the test and say, well, let's test it, you know. And once your balance is below 3-to-1 and once your index is above 8%, then you are well. If it's not, then you need something else, you know. So this test has been made such a tremendous impact on you know, my business, of course. You know, we have now more than 15,000 customers in our group, our team. And we just helped so many people to get into balance again and seeing all these results, you know, and then these people spread the word because once they feel better and they see the results, it's not only I feel better and I'm fine, but you can see it. You can see it, you know, here's my first test, and you take a second test after 4 to 5 months and you see, wow, man, this is tremendous what's happening. And so, you know, this is the most important tool we have in the industry.
And I think you hit a really good point there. There's like, you know, there's 20,000 or whatever in your group, okay, Peter, just in your own group. But as a company, we have 306,500 and something. So let's call it 310,000 people every day consuming the balanced oil, okay? Every day reordering that product on a monthly basis. So when you start combining that, and that's from birth to death, okay? So a lot of people ask that question as well. Well, who can take this balanced oil? Around the world, guys, the bottom line and the science that backs it up is birth to death. You know, my recommendation is just, you know, get on the oil, get yourself tested, and just watch your own personal results, and then you'll start telling a lot of people about it. Ida, just as we wrap out, okay, give the guys just 1 minute of what you believe is your most inspiring things that you've seen whilst you've been on your Zenzino journey as corporate, okay, and head of product development. Give me something that's really something that they wouldn't hear on a normal daily basis.
Okay, so as nutritionists, my main belief is that we should try to cover our needs through diet. But being in this real world for 10 years time now after I finished school, I see first-hand side both athletes consuming twice the amounts as we normal people do every day in terms of energy. I see that it's so difficult to cover the needs every day, and we need supplements, and it's our own responsibility to take care of our health and immune system because the governments are not putting in money in prevention. They are putting the money in treatment of diseases. So guys, you should invest in your own health because nobody else are doing so for you.
Fantastic, Ida. Thank you so much. That's really, truly appreciated. And Peter, can I pose the same question to yourself? This is a great opportunity for somebody that's watching the replay or the guys listening now. Just give me some of that snippet of information that you know that, hey, let me just tell this will inspire, change somebody's life.
Well, I have one really big wish. I want to talk about vaccines. You know, because politicians talk about vaccines all the time. I haven't heard a single politician talking about the immune system. And guys, we have lived on the immune system for hundreds of thousands of years. It protects us. It is there to protect us. It is the only thing that can protect us properly well. So strengthen your immune system and do something for yourself. Like Ida said, invest in yourself. And we don't need, you know, if you want to take a vaccine, that's your choice, that's fine. But we don't need it necessarily for all, you know, the causes that they tell us. There are some vaccines that are certainly helpful, but some are not, because we don't need them. So they're only there to make money for big pharma. And I'm talking like Dr. Paul does, you know, because he would say probably similar things about the immune system. Strengthen your immune system and just take the right supplements because it's not in your food anymore, in your daily diet anymore. We need the supplements. If we would have the food from 150 years ago, we wouldn't need it. But today, nowadays, we need it to strengthen your immune system.
Fantastic, guys. And again, thank you so much. And as I close out, let's get yourselves healthy. That's what I want to talk to you guys, and just get them healthy, okay? Get your body feeling the best it can be so you can live a long and enjoyable life. Scientists and researchers and people like these two guys don't come along every day, guys. So make sure you share this recording with everybody you can. Make sure you get this data out to everybody that needs this product, okay, and needs to understand where the wellness world is today. There is a better way if we just share this incredible information. Ida, thank you so much. Peter, thank you so much again. And we look forward to hosting you two guys over the next number of weeks, okay, as we bring the wellness groups back in again in December and January of next year. We truly appreciate all the data that you've shared tonight. Thank you so much, guys. And everybody listening, God bless. Have a great night and see you with great cells. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Bye.